I don't buy new cars, I don't buy brand names, I go to Goodwill for my clothes. I like to save money, I like to find bargains, it's the life I chose. I throw nothing away, I'll find a use another day for all this junk I keep. My neighbors all hate me, they abuse and berate me, 'cause I like doing it cheap. Yeah, I like doing it cheap. Welcome to another episode of Doing It Cheap. Whew, how y'all doing? Well, this video here might be a little bit late for some of you. It might be a little early, it might be just in time, who knows? Because there's people all over the world. I am blessed. Thank you so much. I'm blessed with subscribers all over the world. And I want to talk to you about starting your seeds and having your little plants ready to transplant out in the garden whenever it's, the fear of frost is gone and all that. Here in my area, our latest frost can occur as late as April 15th. And so I don't put anything outside until after April 15th. I remember a couple years ago, it might have been last year, I don't remember, but my neighbor over here, it was so warm in March. The first week of April, it's so warm. He got out there and he put them plants out there in the garden, and we got the most god-awful freeze right around April 15th you ever seen. Ruined everything he put out. So I try to coordinate my seed starting with a transplant date of April 15th. So here it is. Today is February 27th. So April 15th is going to be approximately 6 weeks from now. And I can usually get a pretty nice sized seedling in 6 weeks. And I want to share with you what I learned. This room, you see all kinds of shit in this room. I use this room for everything. This is my man cave, this is my hangout, this is where I make my decals and make signs, and I do sandblasting here, I sleep out here, got my computer. I mean, this is, hell, if I, this thing right here, the size of this room make a perfect house. It's 16 by, I think, 34. Something like that, maybe 18 by 34. Anyway, it'd make a perfect size house for a couple of people. You ain't gonna have a big place. But something that I learned whenever I was going crazy setting up, getting my seeds started. I built big old structures and had all my fluorescent lights going and all them little pots going, all little cups, like I did last year in my greenhouse. And I forgot all about what I had learned sitting here in the house. I thought my greenhouse would be cool, no big deal, but daggum, it gets so hot in there. So here's what I learned about starting plants indoors. First of all, with your 4-foot fluorescent light fixture, get 2 of them. Okay, so you've got 4 bulbs, 4-foot bulbs like over this table right here, let's just say. But each fixture needs to have a cool and a warm bulb. Fluorescent lights come in cool and warm, and you need both bulbs to get the full spectrum of natural sunlight. That's why some people have trouble just trying to grow their plants under fluorescent light. You don't realize you've got to have the full spectrum of light. So that's the first tip. Get you a cool bulb and a warm bulb. It's a different, it's a like I said, it's different spectrums of light. And you'll see it whenever you go to Lowe's or Walmart or wherever you might buy your 4-foot bulbs. You'll see cool and warm. Okay? You need one of each. You need pair. You need one of each like that. And if you have, the reason I say get 2 of the 2 bulb light fixtures, so you got 4 bulbs, is so that you can have, you know, lots of times your bulbs come in a 2-pack. So it's kind of foolish to have to buy 4 bulbs and not use them, right? But one of the things I found out, that as I was playing, and I mean I was nursing these things, so it's right here in the house by the television and all. And one thing I noticed is that as I planted them in them little seed pods, them little starter trays and all that kind of stuff, you know, my little plant would get up about that high, then I started transplanting. And I took like, let's say, I'm just picking a number, don't remember how many it was, okay? But let's just say I chose a dozen. So I took a dozen of these little, you know, seed pods, you know, little starter pods about that big around, about like a little bathroom, you know, the little paper cup you get, you know, got the Dixie cup dispenser and you get to rinse your mouth out or whatever. I was using, you know, just little small containers. And I took a dozen out of, let's say there were 2 dozen there, and I took a dozen of them and I transplanted into like the size of a styrofoam coffee cup. And I noticed that, you know, before long, the plants that were in the coffee cups were 2 and 3 times the size of the ones I left behind in the little starter pods. And I fertilized them all the same, I watered them all the same, but they were developing their root ball. Oh, pardon me. I think I need to give me some of that Bailey's. Anyhow, then what I did is out of that dozen coffee cups where the, say the plants was, say, that tall compared to the starters that was this tall, I took a half a dozen of those coffee cups and I transplanted into one of these quart size pots. I couldn't do, you know, like all 24, let's say, tomato plants because I didn't have that much room, but I was learning. And when I transplant out of the little styrofoam coffee cups into the quart pots, all of a sudden the ones in the quart pots were getting huge. Yet the ones in the little starter pods were the same size. I mean, you know, they were the same size they were. They weren't getting any bigger. So I opened up the little cup and I found it was full of roots. So it had plenty of roots, excellent for transplanting. And I pulled them out of the coffee cup. And the same thing in the coffee cup. It was just full of roots. But I had no growth. No green growth, you know. It wasn't going crazy like it was in the quart pot. And then when it came time to transplant out in the garden, when I took it out of the quart pot, it was full of roots. So what I learned from that, what I believe I learned, is that we should transplant our seedlings into a large container as soon as possible. Because it was obvious that in my little bitty tiny cups, they weren't getting any bigger than that. So I believe that if we were to start our seeds in the big pot here, I believe that we'd have a lot, you know, large growth. So that's what I'm going to try. I've got some tomatoes here, these cherry tomatoes. I love these things. Oh my God, I had a dozen plants of these large red cherry tomatoes, and they was on there like grapes, you know, and like 10 or 12 to a little stem. And I'd go out there, and every day when I go feed the chickens, I'd go out there and I'd get me some of them tomatoes and eat them. And I couldn't figure out why. I thought surely there would be a whole lot more, until I found out my little grandson was picking them the night before, and he was getting gallons of them things. And I had like, I don't know, 6 plants, but it was plenty. So anyway, what I'm gonna do in this pot right here, and I companion plant. I don't use a bunch of bug spray and chemicals in my garden. I want to know that I can just walk by, pick it, wipe off any dust or dirt, and pop it in my mouth. So in my garden, I do not use any type of pesticides. I don't even use any weed killer. Okay? The only chemical that I'll sometimes use is Miracle Grow, and man, that shit works too. It's just a real good fertilizer is all it is. But anyhow, I'm going to plant these cherry tomatoes in here, and I'm going to plant like, I don't know, maybe 10 seeds. And when them seedlings start coming up, I'll transplant them. But I'm going to leave one dead center and see how big that sucker gets here over the next 6 weeks. Okay, and I'll just try to sort of have this sitting on the table or in the background, somewhere where you can see it without me having to draw attention to it in every video. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plant them. I'm going to plant 10 seeds in this 1 quart pot, and then when I've got a good healthy one there, then the rest of them are going to come out, and I'll put them in something else. And I'm ashamed to say I don't have a fluorescent light fixture right now that I can use to do the lighting I was telling you about, but I do have a good window here, so I'll just set it here for now. Well folks, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Like I say, the companion planting. By planting marigolds next to your tomatoes, you don't get any bugs on your tomato plants. And these was just little old cheap seeds from Dollar Tree, 25 cents a pack. And my marigolds got, good God, 4 and 5 foot tall. It was awesome. And I've got the seeds at the farm, but I wasn't going to drive 19 miles one way just to go get some seeds to do this planting to make this video. Folks, y'all have a wonderful day and a better tomorrow. Bye.
Don't buy new cars, don't buy brand names. I go to Goodwill for my clothes. I like to save money.
Well, y'all go on.
I like to find bargains. It's the life I chose. I throw nothing away. I'll buy to use.
Nothing to see here.
For all this junk.
PawPaw getting him some seeds out.
My neighbors all hate me, they abuse and berate me, 'cause I like doing it cheap. Yeah, I like doing it cheap.
Did you know a good rule of thumb on planting seeds is they should be planted 2 times the depth that the seeds should be planted is twice their thickness. That's a good rule of thumb. So these tomato seeds are barely under the surface. Bye. I'm gonna get me some Baileys. I can't wait for them cherry tomatoes.